Hello again, welcome to Home Studies e-learning for First. Today we're going to look at habitual behaviour in the past and also habitual behaviour in the present. Okay, let's begin. So remember we use the phrase used to talk about habits or states in the past that no longer happen now. Remember, used to is a fixed phrase. It's only used in the past tense and never used with the present or future tenses. Let's look at an example for you. I used to live in the countryside. Now I live in the city. Okay, let's remind ourselves of the form. So remember, it's I, he, she, etc. plus used to plus the infinitive. Here are some more examples. I used to drink orange juice. He used to drive to work. She used to have a cat. It used to be a quiet place. You used to play the trumpet. We used to dress up as superheroes. They used to go on holiday to Spain. Okay, let's now look at the negative form. Remember, it's I, he, she, etc. plus a didn't used to. Now remember, we drop the D on used to and the spelling becomes use, U-S-E, plus the infinitive. Let's look at some examples. I didn't used to like mushrooms. She didn't used to go to the gym. They didn't used to go camping in the summer. Okay, now let's remind ourselves of the question form. It's did plus I, he, she, etc. plus used to. Again, we drop the D and it becomes used to plus the infinitive to complete the question. Let's look at some examples. Did you used to eat spicy food? Where did you used to buy your clothes? What did they used to do at weekends when they were teenagers? Now, we can use adverbs of frequency with used to and with would. It tells us how often these events occurred. For example, I always used to go to the cinema on a Saturday afternoon. I never used to drink fizzy drinks. They would often go for long walks along the beach. She would never be late to class. Now let's look at would. Okay, so would can be used to talk about past habits instead of used to. However, would is not used to talk about past states. So would is not used with stative verbs. Verbs like to be, understand, think, believe, know, like, and live. Okay, over to you now. I'm going to give you 30 seconds and look at 6 sentences and you have to decide whether they're correct or incorrect. Okay? Okay, you may begin. Okay, time's up. Let's check them, shall we? So number 1, I would live in Canada. Incorrect. Number 2, I used to live in Canada. Correct. Number 3, I used to like watching scary movies. Correct. Number 4, I would like watching scary movies. Incorrect. 5, I would believe in Santa Claus. Incorrect. And 6, I used to believe in Santa Claus. Correct. Remember, if we're using would, we can't use them with stative verbs. Okay, let's look at the form for would. So it's would plus the infinitive. For example, when I was a child, I would go swimming twice a week. Now we could say, when I was a child, I used to go swimming twice a week. She would talk to her friend on the phone every night. Or we could say, she used to talk to her friend on the phone every night. Now let's look at habitual behaviour in the present. Now, we use the present simple to talk about habits or permanent states in the present. For example, I go for a walk in the park 3 times a week. Adverbs of frequency are used to specify how often these events take place. For example, I often go to the cinema. I always complete my homework. He never takes the bus to work. They occasionally go to a restaurant for dinner. Okay, this slide shows all the adverbs of frequency that are most commonly used, with never at one end of the spectrum and always at the other. With adverbs like hardly ever, rarely, occasionally, seldom, sometimes, often, frequently, normally, generally, usually, almost always, in between. Okay, so where does the adverb of frequency go? Well, the adverb of frequency goes before the main verb. For example, I always read before I go to bed. Now, the adverb of frequency goes after the verb to be or an auxiliary verb. For example, he is never late for football practice, or they have always been friends. Now let's look at be used to and get used to. Now, be used to is used when we are accustomed to something. Get used to is used when we are in the process of becoming accustomed to something. So it's be used to plus a noun or gerund, or get used to plus a noun or a gerund. Okay, let's look at some examples, shall we? I'm used to the weather in the UK. My friend is a taxi driver, so he's used to driving all day long. She's getting used to British food. I want to leave my job. I cannot get used to the hours. Okay, that completes habitual behaviour in the past and habitual behaviour in the present. It's test time now, so thanks and good luck.